Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Malak from the 12 Tribes United. We're going to go into can a man have more than one wife? Because the other day on the Sabbath, today is a new moon, we went over what this means to have one wife and deacon and bishop, and we touched it, that a man even under the old covenant can have more than one wife, and it didn't change under the Messiah. So now we're going to start from the beginning, and we're going to go into it part 2. All right, so you go to Exodus 21:10. It tells you that, if a man has if he takes him another wife, her food and her raiment and the duty of marriage, that he not diminish. So if a man, that means he has one wife first. And if he wants another wife, he has to be able to take care of her just like he did the first one. He have to provide her food, provide her clothing, and the duty of marriage. You have to be able to deal with that situation. You have to be able to not just provide for her, but be able to teach her and so forth and so on, and raise children with her. All right, he has to be able to provide. You can't provide for one, why go to two? That's not using wisdom. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy 21 and verse 15. It says, if a man has two wives, so this is showing you, that's if a man has two wives. Certain men in the scriptures had one wife. Certain men were single. Certain men had more than one wife. We see that throughout all the scriptures. All right? It's up to the man. It's up to the Most High. What are you going to bless that man with? Because the Most High is the one who blesses us, who blesses a man with his wives or a woman with her husband. It says one beloved, meaning there's one woman that he loves more, and another hated. Now, should a man have one wife that he hates? No, but this is just an example. And they had borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and the firstborn, meaning both wives have him children. And if the firstborn be hers that was hated, so here it is. Like I said, a man shouldn't hate his wife, but this is just an example of a man have more than one wife. All right. They all have children from him, and the firstborn comes out the one that he hates, that he really doesn't like, for whatever reason. Only the Most High knows. And if the firstborn shall be hers that was hated, so here it is, the one that was hated has the firstborn son. Then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he have, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So we're not going to read down. We're not going to keep reading. We're just going to keep going through this more than one wife. All right. So this is another law that tells you that a man can have more than one wife. You have many examples in the scriptures of men, righteous examples and wicked examples. When you get another wife, she's supposed to be of our nation. And these are bad examples. These are examples of when that's wicked. Here it is, a man has a wife, an Israelite wife, and then he gets a whole bunch of women from other nations. That's wickedness. That's wrong. If they're Israelites and they keep the Most High's commandments, they're not married, they don't have no husband, a man can have more than one wife in righteousness. All right? He just has to keep the law with them. Not make them jealous of each other. And you sisters, you got to get rid of that jealous spirit, that Western Americanized spirit. Because with that spirit, you're going to always have problems. All right? It's in a man's spirit to want more want more than one wife. You'd rather have a man going behind your back and cheating on you, so-called cheating, dealing with other women. No, you don't want that. That's deception, right? But here it is, you giving that man a hard time, telling him he can't have another wife. Who are you? The man is the head. Do you go to your boss and tell him he cannot have another worker, another assistant? Because a woman's a helpmeet unto her husband. What is a helpmeet? You help him. And if a man wants another helpmeet, he can have another one. And you have nothing to do with that. All right? You have nothing to do with that. Now, if you see that man is struggling and he can't hardly take care of you, then that's something to be discussed. But Do not, stop a man from building his family. Do not get in the way of a man, building his family. All right? Don't be jealous and have that spirit, because you'll ruin your marriage. You'll take down your marriage if you have that spirit. Get rid of that Western spirit. If you have that Western spirit, that means you have not repented, fully repented. That means you're still of the world. You're still thinking like women out there in the world. All right? Simple as that. Now, I've deleted and blocked a lot of sisters because they don't want to hear what the scriptures say. They want to go into their own emotions, and then they want to twist scriptures and take them out of context and ask questions that have nothing to do with what the law says. Isaiah 8:20 tells us that if the person doesn't teach the law, then there's no wisdom in them. Let's go to Isaiah 4:1. It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. So this is what? 7 women. Taking hold of how many men? 1. All right? It says, and let's see if this, some brothers say that's the kingdom. It said, we will eat our own bread, meaning these women, these 7 women, are going to have their own food and wear our own apparel. So these women here, these 7 women, is obviously women that know the commandments. They know Exodus 21:10. That's why they're quoting this. You see, because a man normally would see 7 women, he wouldn't go for 7 women. Why? Because he may say, look, I don't have the finances to take care of those 7 women. Hardly have the finances for 1. So these women came to this man. All right? It says, wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name. So these women knew the commandments. These 7 women are going to be 7 righteous women. Which shows you what? If you don't believe a man got more than one wife, you're not a righteous woman. You're not a virtuous daughter of Israel. Because these 7 women know Exodus 21:10. And they're not twisting that scripture or trying to take it out of context, take it somewhere else. All right? Sister, this is where you want to be. You want to be that righteous woman. All right? It doesn't twist scriptures. It says, only let us be called by thy name, meaning be married to us, to take away our reproach. This cannot be the kingdom, because in the kingdom we're not going to have reproach. All right? So this is definitely not the kingdom. Now, normally Exodus 21:10, a man takes care of more than one wife. This is during captivity, when a man may not have the finances to even, almost like not even take care of one, the way we see it today. So these 7 women had their own apparel, had their own food. Now we look at this time period. Don't we see that today? Don't we see women make more money than men? As a matter of fact, let's just go to the scripture to break this down. All right. A lot of women said, what benefit does it have us? Does it have the woman? She thinks it's all about a man having sex with a bunch of women. First of all, the scripture said, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You don't just assume stuff. You don't know what the purpose is for that. All right? It's to build a nation. That means you got lust on your mind. You got wickedness in your mind if you think that. You think everything's about sex. It says, how long, Jeremiah 31:22, how long will I go, O thou backsliding daughter? So the Most High is calling Israel a backsliding daughter. For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So now, what time period is this? This is in this time period. 100 years ago, a woman did not have no job that paid more than a man, was in a higher position than a man. This is why these 7 women are going to have their own food, have their own bread. They're going to have their own bread, have their own clothing, as you see today, the so-called independent woman. But these women, they may have their own food, their own bread, their own apparel, but they're going to know these commandments. This is why they're quoting what they're quoting. See, a woman in the world ain't going to know Exodus 21:10. She ain't going to quote that. All right? So this is a different time period. This is in this time period. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen on this side. It's not going to happen in the kingdom. In the kingdom, we're not going to have problems with financial with our money. All right? So this is not the kingdom. This is in captivity. All right? When you read Isaiah 3, you see that, that this is captivity. Some brothers say it's in Babylon. No, this captivity. Men always took care of women. Even up to a few generations ago. It's only today that women have their own food, have their own apparel, that they're able to take care of themselves. All right? So these are going to be so-called women that are going to have their own, but they're not going to have the spirit of these worldly women. Oh, I don't need a man, and so forth and so on. All right? So let's go to Matthew 5:31. You got women that destroy marriages because they're jealous. They have a jealous spirit, and they don't want their man to have more than one wife. All right? That's wickedness. Matthew 5:31. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give a right of divorcement. So that goes back into Deuteronomy 24. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication. I mean, the only way you're supposed to put away your wife is for fornication. Fornication is sexual immorality. It's also idolatry, spiritual and physical. All right? It says, so that's the only reason you put away your wife, is for something like that. It says, cause her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committed adultery. So here it is, a woman was put away. She committed adultery, and you're going to go right behind and marry her. That's madness. Why would you do something like that? You know that woman was put away. She committed adultery, and you're just going to go after her and go deal with her after that. That's madness. So let's go to 19:9. And I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, it's once again fornication, it's the only reason you put her away, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. See, somebody read that and say, see, you can't have more than one wife. No, that's not what that's talking about. That's talking about a man putting away his wife that he currently has for something other than fornication, and he goes and takes another wife. Meaning you break up with you divorce your wife and get another one. This scenario wouldn't even happen if women didn't here it is, a man has another wife, and then a woman, talks about leaving him, and talks about either you be with me or you be with her. So what happens? That man says, you know what? I'm putting you away then. I don't want to be with you, and just put you away. You see that? Don't be the cause of a man putting you away. All right, sisters? Don't be the cause of that. Because you tell that man he can't have more than one wife, you give him a hard time, and he gets tired of you, and he goes and puts you away. So you know what? I'm just going to get this other sister. All right? And brothers, don't put away your wife because, she may have gained weight, if she may have gotten older. That's madness. All right? Let it be for fornication, any type of sexual sin or idolatry. All right? And idolatry don't just mean bowing down to idols. All right? So, another thing. Let's say that a woman, right? A man has more than one wife. One of the women, they go to work. The other wife can watch the children. You see that? You don't got to call for child care and so forth and so on. So there is advantages. The sisterhood. All right? It brings women more closer together. Brings sisters more closer together. All right? Don't always think it's about the man. If you have a problem with it, you need to take it up with the Most High. Don't take it up with us brothers. Because the scriptures say what they say. The law says what it says. And we can't go against that. All right? So, let's read down. Oh, as a matter of fact, 29. And everyone that have forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or fathers or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So one of the things that a man forsakes is his wife. Why? Probably because she committed adultery, idolatry, So what happens? Most High said they're going to get 100 in the kingdom. Shalom.